Jesse, what's up? How's it going, bud?
You mentioned Manny Machado. Did you see his post-game interview last night?
No.
Have you seen this yet?
That one evaded me. I'm not going to lie.
He bit off the head of the person asking the question. So I got the good Machado the other day.
Well, yeah, because you're interviewing him in the dugout after he's homered. So
he was
absolutely
feeling great.
Exactly. I had the advantage there. But the reporter asked him, would you describe this as a successful season? And, where players get that question often, and they don't know how to answer it necessarily. And he's just like, well, what do you think? We just lost. What do you think? We just lost. Why would you ask that question? So Fun Manny left the building as that game ended. And, I'll just sum up the series if you don't mind.
Please.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, I think I said this yesterday, even before Game 3, and now even afterwards. Nothing in that series really surprised me. Of course, I don't know how we're going to get to the final outcomes, but to see very few runs scored, to see both bullpens basically lock it down. Yes, they scored in the ninth and could have scored more, but they didn't. All of it kind of made sense to me. I figured there'd be little offense. I figured it'll be both bullpens, more so than the Padres and the Cubs. Locking things down, and I felt like home field advantage would be a difference. We can't, there's nothing to look under the hood to know that for sure. There's no stat that tells us that, but I kind of think playing at Wrigley was the difference. So they won a low-scoring, tough-fought series at home. I think that was kind of, in some ways, the expected outcome by me, but it was still exciting, intense, and, of course, a crazy ninth inning just to add on to the intensity of it all.
It was hanging on to every single pitch. What did you think of the way Counsell managed the bullpen?
Pretty expected. I give him a lot of credit for having the faith in Daniel Palencia that he did after the way things went down the stretch. The smartest thing the Cubs did, and I'm going to call it a phantom injury, probably wasn't. I'm sure there was some shoulder inflammation, but I have shoulder inflammation. I mean, every pitcher has shoulder inflammation. So my point is, I don't think they had to shut him down, but I think they realized they needed to. The mental and physical reset was needed, and without much work after coming back, Counsell showed that much faith in him. That tells me even more it wasn't a real, aggressive injury. Because if it was, I think they would have eased him back in different spots. So the faith he showed in Palencia was huge. And I kind of knew the lefties were going to be used, Thielbar, Pomerantz, because it's such a lefty-dominated lineup. I mean, I saw him on that bullpen from where I sit often. Checking. Now, I think he should have gone to Soroka in Game 1 or Game 2 or walked Manny Machado, so I thought that was a mistake. But the rest of it he did pretty well, including pulling Keller to go to Kittredge, which turned out to be a pretty brilliant move.
Jeff Meller, Dionne and Miller in for Kap and J Hood as Jesse Rogers joins us. He's brought to you by Automatic Mechanical Services, a trusted name in HVAC for your home and business, making people comfortable since 1945. Jess, I thought part of the work for the Cubs, I mentioned to Dionne earlier, I think they knew the assignment coming into the game. Yu Darvish was, for the Padres, an interesting selection because he has not been his best. You talked about it in the pregame coverage on ESPN about maybe the Padres were coaxed into the fact that Darvish has pitched for the Cubs, and just knowing Wrigley, maybe that played into a little bit of their decision-making. I thought the Cubs did a great job of getting to him early because, as you mentioned, the bullpens, as to be expected, two good bullpens. The Padres entering the playoffs, I thought, had the best bullpen position to go deep into the playoffs, and the Cubs, to their credit, they lost Game 2, Jesse, but they made Mike Shildt use Mason Miller. They made him use Suarez, and I thought it definitely paid dividends yesterday when Yu Darvish had to be pulled early in the game, and all of a sudden Shildt is managing, and he's going to Estrada, and he's going to King, and I think the Cubs, even though they lost Game 2, making the Padres use all their A relievers basically to their fullest extent in Game 2 allowed the Cubs to be in position to handle Game 3 yesterday.
And maybe the difference is just that solo home run by Michael Busch because of everything you just said. Guys being used, you can use multiple days, and here you get that add-on run by Michael Busch, the first run off that bullpen in the series. So, yeah, all of that matters, but let's not bury the lead. I mean, the Cubs defense was elite. It has been all season. You never know where it's going to show up in a game. It may not show up in an elite way in a game because you're getting routine plays. But there were some hard-hit balls, and Dansby and Nico and everybody in the outfield took control. And, again, if that's on the road, who knows? Who knows what happens? So Dansby displaying his Gold Glove was so much fun. Not often do you seek out, the defensive star of the game, but reporters, Dionne, you too, we were all over Dansby. It's one of the best defensive games you'll see in an elimination game just because the opportunities were there to show it off. I talk to him often about that. Like, you don't always get that opportunity. It's a lot of routine stuff. And then, boom, you got things in the hole, going back on balls. I mean, he was great. Nico made that leaping catch. I mean, that's their real identity. That part of their game never slumped this year. And now it'll have to go on the road a little bit here in Milwaukee, and if they keep on going. And, defense doesn't slump, right? It doesn't slump on the road, doesn't really slump at home. So that's still the backbone of this team. Now, you would think another tight series where defense is going to matter, like maybe when they get to the Phillies or Dodgers, if they get that far, offense opens up. But it feels like it's another tight series between two teams that know each other. So winning on the margins, like defensively, is going to matter again.
Yeah, it matters a lot. What do you think a three-hit night for Pete Crow-Armstrong can do for him and his confidence and consistency at the plate?
Yeah, I mean, you see it with Tucker, too. It takes one or two, and then they're sort of back to being who they are. Pete's still a little bit more volatile. Like, I would have more confidence that Tucker will keep going in the right direction. You never know with PCA. But, yes, I think he learns from his mistakes, and he's learning and learning and learning.
Mm-hmm.
You saw him be more patient and calm and almost like the first half PCA. He didn't hit it out, but, just waiting for pitches in the zone, pretty calm and doing damage on him. I mean, the best thing to happen to him, I think Ben McDonald, our analyst, said it, like, the bases are loaded. He's going to get a pitch to hit. He doesn't have to choose between swinging at bad pitches, right? The high ones or low ones. Bases are loaded. The pitcher doesn't want to put anyone on. So maybe that's the moment that he got going because he knew he'd get a pitch to hit.
Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Jesse Rogers joining us here on Kap and J Hood, Jeff Meller and Dionne Miller in for the guys. All right, 2 questions regarding the pitching staff for the next series, Jesse, which starts tomorrow. So Cade Horton
already?
Yeah. No rest for the weary, my friend. You are back in action.
To Milwaukee.
You and Dionne can carpool if you want. She's driving up there later today as well. All right, Jess. So Cade Horton, he's on the 15-day injured list, which I believe makes him eligible to come off for what would be a potential Game 5. First of all, what are the MLB playoff roster rules regarding Cade Horton and him being on the injured list? And also, who potentially would start for Game 1? Do you think the Counsell will turn to Matthew Boyd, or do you think he considers using one of his other arms and saving Boyd for Game 2?
Yeah, I think he's definitely going to save Boyd for Game 2. He was warming up yesterday. That counts as,
Yeah.
That counts for something. And he pitched Tuesday, so it wouldn't be full rest on Saturday. Javier Assad was not on the wild card round roster. They used Tyon. It really falls to him. Colin Ray was even used in this series, not a lot. But I think they left Assad off the wild card roster for this exact reason. Save him for Game 1. And then they can really reset things because after Game 1, there's a day off.
Yep.
I mean, the Brewers can't be happy about that, but the league does what the league's going to do. They didn't want to, they needed to stagger the American and National League. So the National League Series both have days off on Sunday, and then you can reset with Boyd and rock and roll from there. So Assad's going to get Game 1 against Freddie Peralta, a tough cookie. Was even talking to Dansby Swanson before yesterday's game about Peralta. He is so tough at home. But Assad can give you those innings. He can give you some, he can do it. He can match Peralta pitch for pitch. I don't think he can match him in terms of going deep into the game. But we know Assad's got a good sinker, keep the ball down. I think he's up for the task. But he's the only fully rested, regular starter that's ready to go. So I assume it's him. I think it's a long shot that Cade Horton pitches if there's a Game 5, because basically the Cubs would have to come up with an injury for somebody else.
Yeah.
And in the playoffs, they're diligent about this. You can't just make something up. And let's say they say Mike Soroka's shoulder isn't feeling well, which might not be a stretch, considering his history. First of all, Soroka would have to miss the NLCS. which, maybe he was going to miss it anyway. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
you pull him off the roster, they have to miss the next round. So that's a dramatic move. But you also have to have a legit injury. That's the only way you're going to add Cade Horton to the playoff roster. So I still think it's a long shot. We don't even know if he's going to be ready.
Yeah.
That will certainly be a topic today up in Milwaukee during the workout days. So all those things are in play. I just have my doubts all that's going to happen for Game 5, but not impossible.
Jesse Rogers joining us here on Kap and J Hood. He's going to hang with us. We'll do more on the Cubs and Brewers when we come back.
When you have two teams that are as familiar with each other as the Brewers and the Cubs, and obviously Craig Counsell's history with Pat Murphy, how do these two managers kind of navigate a series like this?
There won't be any surprises. There really won't be. The Brewers scouts have been watching this team. I don't even know why, because again, like you said, they know each other so well. I think that it's not going to be that dissimilar. Early scoring runs seems to be the way to win playoff series. I mean, these bullpens get shortened, and they're all very good. Now, Milwaukee's gone through some transition there. They might actually lean on their starters a little bit more, but it doesn't feel like you want to be playing from behind. You just don't. Now, I say that coming off this series where the bullpens were locked down, but that's the way in the playoffs, man, because managers just go pitch by pitch, out by out. And let's take this series coming up, for example. You can do it even more because of the off days. There's a game, an off day, a game, an off day, 2 games, and then an off day, and then a game. It's a lot of time in between to rest up your bullpen. So, for example, Javier Assad, he might be given 12 outs, maybe more. I mean, obviously you let a guy go if he's really rolling, but I think both bullpens are going to be deployed because of the days off, and then it's a little bit of a cat and mouse game. You might see Justin Turner get a pinch hit. We didn't see that. Moises Ballesteros might get off the bench. We might see a little bit more of that with the days in between and the way the bullpens will be deployed, because it will be aggressively.
I don't know if I misunderstood that. So you said Javier Assad, 12 outs. I almost feel like that would be a lot from Javier Assad in this situation because of the off day. Honestly, if he gets a chance to go more than once through the order, am I crazy, Jess? I almost feel like that's a situation where I think Craig Counsell is going to have a quick trigger to tomorrow with the off day, and then hoping that Matthew Boyd would potentially get him a few more, outs deeper into Game 2. So, when you say 12 outs, I almost feel like that would be a lot. That would be a great start from Javier Assad in Game 1.
Yeah, in my mind, I was kind of thinking of Jameson's start yesterday.
Yeah.
Similar, and that was 12. He is a regular starter. It's not like he's just a bulk opener type guy.
Yeah.
I think we can all agree not 3 times through the order, but if he gets to 1.5 or 2, it all depends. You got to go by feel too.
Yeah.
I think 4 innings is a good number to use for sorry, the train. I'm sitting on my balcony. I think 4 innings is a good number to use for the sort of non-regular 1s and 2s. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So is it 1 time through the order, or is it closer to 2? I would think if he's rolling, it's closer to 2. Because his sinker's on. It's not a pitch that even if you see it once or twice, I can hit it this time. It's just if it's on, it's on. If it's not, it's not. So that's the way I think of Assad. But 4 innings, I think is about a number you should use in the playoffs. In the old days, we would have said 6, right? Now it's more like 4, unless you're a true ace. So
define the old days, because the old days it was 7 or 8 you were hoping for.
Right? Yeah. So I think using the over/under of 12 outs is a good number to use.
Yeah, no, there's no doubt about it. Jesse Rogers will be covering the Cubs and Brewers series. Of course, he's headed up there later today. Jess, thanks for waking up early for us. We appreciate it, my friend.
Okay, give Dionne a little break. She's got a long day ahead of her, for God's sake. Jeff, let her get some rest.
Listen, 1 more hour, and then we'll let her go. She'll go take a nap, and then she'll meet you up at Miller Park.
But here's my thought. I know she loves a good storyline, and you talk about a juicy series coming up. Isn't this what we live for as sports fans and reporters?
Yes.
Cubs, Brewers, Counsell versus his old team. A quick story. I don't think they'll mind. I met Craig Counsell's entire extended family on the field late after the game. Everyone's still celebrating, and they kind of understood what's coming next. The moment he shows his face in the next few days in Milwaukee, he is going to hear it. he is going to hear it. And hopefully all in good fun, right? No one should be threatening. But that makes it juicy. When the other team's manager gets booed every single time he steps out of the dugout, that's fun. When he's facing one of his guys, his mentor for a while, then the guy he hired to replace him eventually. I mean, all these storylines are incredible, let alone the fact that the Brewers love beating the Cubs. They would love nothing more than to knock them out in the playoff series and vice versa on the Cubs side. It's great. It writes itself.
Let's go, man.
There is no
You're
doubt.
right, Jesse. That's
No, there's
awesome.
no doubt about it. In terms of juicy rivalries, we just had the Yankees and Red Sox kind of take center stage for the wild card. And certainly everyone else in terms of like the matchups are good. But in terms of rivalry, this one, Cubs and Brewers, of the four that are remaining, I think is squarely going to be in focus as kind of like center stage. This game, these two teams certainly have a sports hate for each other, no doubt.
Yeah. I know a lot of the other part of the nation is going to be watching Dodgers Phillies, but around here, this is as good as it gets.
No doubt. All right, Jess, we will be listening and watching, of course. Thanks for joining us this morning.
Thank you. Take care. See you, Dionne.
See ya.
Jesse Rogers joining us on the Yingling guest hotline. I'm Jeff Meller. She is Dionne Miller. We're in for Kap and J Hood, talking more Cubs, and we'll do shot or no shot.